What a year. I guess we'll start with that. Everyone I know
What
wants
a year.
everyone I know wants the year to be over, even though it's not going to be any different January
I
1st. But
know.
I think it's that perception of a fresh start, and hopefully it'll be better. So I thought we could just kind of go through some experiences we've had this year. One thing that I do want to say is that because of COVID, we ended up changing the podcast a little bit, and I went through and we did 14 interviews during the year. So really more than one a month is what it evens out to. And that's been a really interesting experience to meet people from around the world, trying to address mental health issues or physical health or emotional well-being. So I found that, kind of enriching despite the circumstances that caused it. But that was really interesting to go back and look at how many different people, the doctors and the coaches and, just all the writers, to see what people are doing in other places. So I thought that was an upside for me to 2020. I thought maybe we could really start with anything we learned about ourselves. Maybe even just one thing, but did you learn something new about yourself by going through this experience? The combination of, we'll just say the pandemic, but the stay at home, the everything that went along with it.
I'll go first. I actually did learn something about myself that I think I tended to fill my life with busyness. Just, I don't know why. I just felt like I always needed something to do. And now I realized that it's okay to be slow. It's okay to not have anything going on when somebody asks you, what are you doing this weekend? And instead of going, oh, I have so much to do. Now it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not doing anything. And I'm okay with it. So
good. Yeah, that's our Friday mental health check. What are you doing this weekend? Nothing. All four of us. Well, except for Vanessa with homework, but but that's good that you can accept that, because I do think that's important. So thank you.
Well, with me, I felt like I learned how resilient and how flexible I am with change, because it was like so quick. I remember I was like in class, and they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna go back to campus," and there was no warning.
Yeah.
So it was just like all at once, but we did it. We went through it. Now we're here.
That's a really good, healthy quality to have. I think most people have some, they don't always recognize it, but I think recognizing it's what's really important, because then when the next thing happens, you already know you can cope with it.
You can get through it.
Yeah, that's great. How about you?
I just wanted to comment. I feel like we did that with our entire way of working as well.
Yep.
We were in a hospital doing a workshop, and then I think they shut it down like the next day or the following day after that.
Yeah.
And then we just completely flipped everything around and started doing everything online.
Big change.
Big change. Yeah, kudos to you for leading that.
Oh,
I was like, oh, we'll probably just stop working because there's no way to do this. And Teresa came in and was like, all right, this is what we're going to
do. What about you, Teresa? What did you learn?
Well, I'm still learning it, because it's a weird thing to me. And it kind of ties into the busyness thing. What I discovered is not that I need to be busy, but that I am easily bored. And so I've really struggled with like trying to find the balance, because I'm okay doing nothing. If I'm in the mood to do nothing, I'm fine with it. Have been for a long time. But I did not realize that I have a real issue with boredom. And to me, there's a difference between relaxing or, meditating, kind of not doing, versus having a ton of energy and having nothing to do with it. And so I think that that's one of the things I've struggled with a lot, is aside from moving furniture, but there's a lot of things that I've had to just stop and go, okay, just try to sit with it for a while. Is it really that you can't stand not to be busy? Or is it just because my mind is going or my body's going and I want to do something with all that energy? And so I still have my up and down days with that, but I really never recognized that I had a problem with boredom until this year. And I was really bored a lot. And so that's something I'm still still sort of trying to balance or look at. But that was one of the biggest interesting self-awareness aha moments I had was, whoa, I really have an issue with this. I don't like to be bored.
I actually have like realized that I'm never bored, or like I'm totally okay being bored, or like living completely passively. And I really have for the last like 10 months, or maybe it's just like become more clear to me.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay like putting the TV on or reading a book, but like in a very passive way. And it's just like, I've looked back on like the last 10 months and it's felt kind of like waiting, but not even just like waiting for the pandemic to be over, just like waiting for like time to pass, like waiting for the time when I get up to make dinner, and like waiting for the time when I go to bed and like lay down and read. But it's not like actively engaging with life. And I really haven't been doing a lot of that for years, but I don't think I really, it like became clear to me until it was only that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I used to associate doing nothing with laziness, and lazy is like a bad word in my household. Like, no. So to just sit on the couch and read a book in the middle of the day, like that was such a foreign thing to me. Like that would never be something I would do because there was too many other things to do. And now it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to read a book today, and it feels great. And I've let go of that, like stigma of sitting and doing nothing does not mean being lazy.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's still just as much stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that that like work went away or that you don't have things to do. You can do both. I think that is another probably insight a lot of people have figured out. You don't have to race all day long. You can still get everything done. But interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see what we. Well, okay. On that topic, is there something now that you would do different? We're going to be in stay-at-home orders in some form probably for another at least 6 months. Is there something you're going to do differently now in the new year based on what you did this year?
Yes.
What?
I have a plan. I think I'm going to start trying to like do more creative projects, like things that I'm passing time, but I'm engaging and like being alive and living. And I don't know what they are yet. I told you guys that I've bought like supplies for every craft known to man, and they're just like piling up in the corner, and then I like lay down and watch TV instead of actually using them. But I'm gonna do it.
Wow, excellent. This will be exciting. We get to see the end results.
Yeah, I'll send you guys some stuff. Some bizarre crafts.
Great. How about you, Vanessa?
Decor. Yeah.
I think in the new year I want to be trying something new.
Yeah.
Because it's this year, I don't know, I just, like you said, you get bored, you don't know what to do, but I think trying something new, and I'm thinking about trying to learn how to skate.
Oh.
Like rollerblade. Yeah.
Rollerblade or roller skate?
No, roller skate, yeah. Yeah, so I'm actually excited about that. I think actually might be getting myself some skates for Christmas this year.
Nice.
Oh, good. I like that on 2 levels.
I have a bunch of friends who bought roller skates this year, and one of them like broke her knee skating, but she's she's like okay, my age, so you'll be fine. You'll probably just stand up. That's cool. I love that.
That's excellent.
I love roller skating. It's so much fun.
How about you, Melissa?
That's a tough one. This year has been difficult for me because there's a lot of chaos with the kids and decisions to make, and what's the safest thing to do, and having them here. Well, there's so many challenges. So for me, I feel like now I can breathe a little bit now that, it's coming to, we have kind of gotten used to what's going on now. So I think maybe next year I would like to have maybe a little structure going on but only so I don't feel like, wow, I could have done that today. Or I mean, I guess I don't really know how to explain it, but I just feel like there's some things I'd like to try that I didn't try because I was too busy, or,
Yeah.
we were really busy with work. It's not like we
No,
had a real period of chill out. It was nonstop. So I kind of want to chill a little bit.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I do
about you?
too. That is one area. I mean, it's a hard to balance. I'm very grateful we've been so busy. Like, it could have gone the other way, right? Who
Mhm.
knew? So it's a blessing, but it's also been really hectic, and I feel like I've not had a break. I'm going to take a break now, but it feels like,
Yeah.
it's just been nonstop. So that's definitely up there. Don't know how to do that yet. How to get that. It took me a long time when pre-pandemic to get things on a schedule where I didn't feel like I was racing all day every day. And that went out the window somehow when the shutdown happened. I feel like I'm racing all day every day again. So that's definitely one. Two is I'm never going to be low on toilet paper again. I've learned that lesson for life. There will always be toilet paper in this house. And then the third is I really, and I think this is just probably, natural human behavior, but I felt a lot more fun or lightness in the work I do pre-pandemic than I have since then. And it's probably a combination. First of all, a lot of people are stressed out. So, I'm doing a lot more coaching with upset people, but I don't think that's really the heart of it. I think it's that this year was learning how to do our jobs all over again in a different way. And so there wasn't time to kick back and, try to have, I don't feel like I've had a lot of fun with it yet. So that's one of my, one thing that I'm going to change about how I handled things this year. This year, I did feel pressure and, all that stuff that goes along with having to just upend everything at once. So I'm hoping that'll be like starting January, because now I think we've got the hang of this. I think we're doing really well with it. So I don't have to worry anymore about it or plan more, or, I can just kind of step back and go, okay, now how do I start having fun with this? So that's probably my top goal for this is, and the same thing with the podcast. Like, I'd never interviewed people. It seemed like every single week I was having to learn something new or change how I do things. I didn't get to use my habits or routines or any of that stuff. So as long as I don't introduce something new for us all to learn now, I'll try to be really good about that. I'll step back and then we can maybe, get more back into now we know what we're doing again. Isn't that a weird thing to think you were sort of an expert at something and then you went overnight to, I have no idea how to do this. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think that's funny you say the expert part, because I was an expert with scheduling with my kids and my life, and everything was like, I had it down to where I didn't even have to think about it. It was like this natural thing. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, who has school today? Who has school tomorrow? What's going on? What's happening yesterday? Like, I didn't know, everything was up in the air. Now I just went like a little, where I don't have that every ball is in the air kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
it's the same feeling.
I learned how to schedule myself. Honestly, I like at the beginning of this, I was like, I have to do something. I have to figure out what I'm going to do every day and do the same thing every day. Yeah. And then I just did it. And now it's maybe too much, like too structured.
Yeah, loose structure is good, right? But we don't want to be like
But before the pandemic, I was a little chaotic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, you were chaotic, but I'm saying, you're right. When it's one of the that is really one of the keys to successfully working virtually is the structure, because it's too easy not to do the stuff. But I think when you first start, I had to be super structured, because it's just too easy to let something slide or to go, oh, I can't deal with it today. Or, especially when everybody's under stress. So I think that's really a successful strategy, is to almost over structure. And then once it's a habit and you got it and you can do it, then you can start lightening up and lessening it. But I think that is the people that are still struggling, it's because they have no structure.
Right.
Well, it's the habit part too.
Absolutely.
When your brain creates a habit, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's just a habit. But this whole year has been no habits.
Yeah.
So the brain is on overdrive trying to keep you in line.
Yeah. So I think I need less structure again too, Jesse. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to have Vanessa, Melissa keep an eye on us, that we don't just become blobs on the couch. But I think it is important to have some structure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be super rigid all the time.
We need a little bit of spontaneity.
Yeah. And especially if you're suffering from boredom. I could use, there is no spontaneity. Everything's the same every day. I mean, that's a weird thing to me that, and I think that's my boredom thing has to do with that. It's not like I have to be doing something, exhilarating every minute. It's just that every single day, it's the same room, the same screen, the same workflow, the same. I mean, there's just no variation. And if I work on the weekend, there's no demarcation at all between the days. I don't even know what day it is because they're all the same. So yeah, variety. I think we need some variety. Don't know where that's going to come from yet because we still got a ways to go, but that might be something we want to pepper our lives with, just a sprinkle of variety.
I went for a walk last night after work, and I used to go for a walk like right when I stopped working when the sun was up, and I would call my same friend and walk on my same walk. And I stopped doing it because I got sick. And then yesterday we had a workshop, and we were done at like 5 and the sun was down, and I was like, oh, I can't go for a walk, the sun's down. And then I was like, you can, you just normally don't. So I went for a walk at night, and I walked up this hill that overlooks like all of Glendale, and I could see everyone's Christmas lights, and I was like by myself, and it was kind of and I was like, I felt kind of like I came home and felt like alive.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was pretty too.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Very nice. So is there, I don't know, I have to think about this for a minute too myself, but is there anything you'll miss about 2020?
It's hard to answer because I think 2021 is gonna be like the same.
Yeah.
Similar, at least in the beginning.
Gosh,
I think that's true. But I do think things will change. I mean, I think a lot of stuff's going to start changing even in January, February, between the vaccine being out and the administration turning over and the healthcare system. I mean, I think things are going to start shifting and moving a lot. But so I guess I could say, if we were done, we could do it that way. Let's say I don't want to say a date, July, September, whenever next year that we're not under stay-at-home orders, especially. Can you think of something about this experience of the pandemic and shutdowns that you would actually miss once it's over? Let's say it that way.
I'm going to miss having the kids home.
Yeah.
I mean, I know as a mom, we complain like, I have no time to myself, but it's an awful quiet house without the kids around. And we've gotten to know each other better. We've become buddies, and, they're both very mature and understand exactly what's going on in the world. And it's been nice to be able to share that with them. So it'll be kind of a bummer, when they go back. I know they need it. I know they need to go back with their friends, but
yeah, it is kind of a gift for, especially at that age, preteen and teen, because that's when you start to see them less and less normally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is kind of a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Vanessa?
Along those same lines, I think, because I live with my parents, I think I'm going to miss spending more time with my parents, and I know that they've enjoyed having me home.
Yeah.
So I think, I'll just miss that time with them.
Anything for you, Jess?
I don't think that I'm going to miss anything, but I have valued my experience, and I'm glad that I had it.
Good.
Yeah.
But I don't, so, I've already had it. So
you've learned from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I too am, I don't mean I'm glad that, this has happened at all, but I am grateful for the experiences because I've had a lot of insights, and I think I've learned a lot of things and seen new perspectives about human behavior that will inform my future work. You know what I mean? Because we've seen some human behavior this year. So in a way, it's not all been pleasant, but I think it has been informing, you know what I mean, for the kind of work we do. For me personally, I know what I will miss, and that is the lack of congestion. That traffic isn't bumper to bumper, that I'm not spending hours in a car, that when you do go out, even though you're masked up, stores are not packed, or, you know what I mean? I've liked that feeling of not being so squished in or trapped that I was really feeling a lot before the pandemic hit. And, I'm sure that will slowly dissipate and we'll go back to being, bumper to bumper for 4 hours a day on the 405. But that, to me, that's an actual improvement in the quality of our lives.
Yeah.
It's to be less congested.
It's less Los Angeles like.
Yeah.
Like, I could be living anywhere right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to get the best of Los Angeles. Of course, you can't really go do anything, but but at the same time, it's just a nice feeling. The few times I've gone on the freeway, and it's been a handful only all year, it's amazing again to drive at the speed limit. That never happens normally, so you get back that feeling of there's such beauty here and so many different sceneries and places and just all of that you could actually get to, which is just I haven't experienced that like since the late 80s here.
Yeah.
So I'll miss that, but that's about it. The rest I'd be okay with. So. What else about this year? I wrote some notes down here. Oh, I know. Where or when did you actually find joy in the year?
I'll start. I found like talking to my friends and actually having Zoom calls like regularly, it like boosts my energy so much.
Yeah.
Like reconnecting, and we do this like every week. So that's really where I found like my happy place is with them talking.
That's great. So, and I got to ask you this question. So I know, everyone feels disconnected because you can't see each other or hug each other or do all that, but do you feel like having, say, a weekly Zoom chat with your friends, what am I trying to say? Is there more content or more deeper conversations than there were before because you might have been out running around or just doing a quick text, or is it still, it just doesn't come close to like what you experienced when it was in person?
We've actually had deeper conversations, and I've been really surprised about that because like how could we connect like through a computer? But no, surprisingly, we've gotten like, I don't know, so deep. It's like really weird. But
I feel like, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it must be because there's like less surface level stuff to talk about.
Less distraction.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're not like doing anything.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's an interesting angle, because I was thinking maybe it's because in our normal lives, we take things for granted. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to them about that later, or we're doing other stuff now, we'll deal with that. You know what I mean? Like it's just where it's because it's always there. And now it's a conscious effort to connect. But that's really interesting because you're right. There's nothing to talk about. There's no normal chit chat anymore, right? I have that problem with some of my friends where we get on, and it's not that I don't want to talk to them, but you say, hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? What'd you do today? Nothing. What'd you do yesterday? Nothing. How are the grandkids? Don't know. Haven't seen them in 6 months. We've lost a lot of topics that are normal kind of lead-ins to conversations. So that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective, Jess.
It's interesting because it's so funny that you brought that up, because even yesterday in our retreat, I know it seems like on Zoom, you're talking to a computer screen, so it can't be personal. You can't really get to know somebody. But I honestly feel like in our workshops, like not even just the one yesterday, but the one last week too, where I really felt like, oh my gosh, I felt like connected to the people. And I don't know if it's because there's nothing else to talk about, like you said. And so they're really coming from in here, and they're really like the people that we're doing these workshops for, they have tough jobs.
Yeah,
they are rough. And for them to share all that stuff with us, I just really felt that last week where I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, thank you for what you do. And I know it probably seems silly, but at the time it was no. I really felt connected to the people. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because really there isn't any distraction. We really are face to face. There's not some guy walking across here where you're losing attention or anything like that. You're actually focused on the conversation and on the person. And I don't know, I felt that too.
Yeah, interesting. I'm feeling it more and more. I think, because I know now even in coaching sessions, because I'm doing them all online, I think you may be right. It has to do with the fact that there's no point in even wasting time with sort of the more shallow stuff. It's just like, get right into it. What's going on with you? How are you? We get right into it right away. And they literally, it does feel like they're sitting here almost. I don't feel the disconnect anymore that I did at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be that we're focused, but it also could be that we're acclimating to this. So if you're speaking from the heart, you can feel it. You don't have to be in person. It's coming through.
And I think too, it could also be that we've all gone through this I mean, I hate to say horrific, but it really has been horrific for a lot of people. And I think tragedy, maybe tragedy is too big of a word, but something this big happening to all of us, it makes people a little more raw. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's like it levels, I don't want to say levels the playing field, but it feels like there's an unspoken shared sense of struggle.
Yeah.
So that like when you speak to connect and be like, you're more open with like, this is the struggles that I'm going through, because you don't feel like other people will judge you or like other people are doing much better, because everyone's kind of just like, oh my God, help me.
We're all in it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated to find out 2 years from now, when the studies are all done, about what happened to us, because there's effects. I know there are effects that we maybe aren't aware of yet, and I don't know. I mean, other than world wars and the 1918 pandemic, I don't think there's I can't think of an event that has affected everyone worldwide at the same time like this, ever. I don't know, are you familiar with the random number generators? So they're set up in different places around the world. And what they measure is, so they're random. It's basically, probability. So numbers just randomly get generated, and they're all captured on a computer. And it always comes out about 50-50, so it's changing numbers. The odds are you're going to get one number or another number half the time. And the only event since they started this, because obviously the pandemic and the world wars were before this, but the only event, or one of the only events, there's been a couple, but one of the biggest ones that changed the randomness. So in other words, it's based like almost on the energy that's around it, affected these number generators, was the death of Princess Diana, which is terrible, but so small compared to what we're talking about here. But it's where everyone had the same emotion, or a strong emotion at the same time. But when it was announced that she had been killed in that crash, the numbers changed on all those number generators. They were no longer random. So it was like 60% of the time it hit one number, and 40, or however they measure it. And so there were a couple of those. 9/11 did that to the number generators. So, and again, so when people got the news, now in that one, it was mixed feelings, right? Because I'm sure there were some countries that were happy and some that were angry, but it's not about the what feeling, it's about there's an overwhelming emotional response to something. So I haven't looked to see, that just popped into my head to see if anybody tracked those number generators when this happened. Because again, and this time though, the difference is it's affecting all of us individually. Those other events only affected us, emotionally or mentally. So it's
as much as we're disconnected, we're kind of connected, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it will be interesting.
What brought you joy this year? What brought you joy?
What brought me joy? Well, I struggled with this for a while, but there've actually been a lot of things. One is all of you brought me joy. So our working together as a team, and you guys were being so supportive and flexible. So that really actually brought me a lot of joy, because it was a little scary at the beginning, I will admit. And then I think some of it has been just silly things. Some of it for me, Vanessa, has been like having happy hour with my friends, which at the beginning was just not fun. I mean, it wasn't joyful at first. It was like, this is weird, but now that I'm kind of getting used to it, Janine will probably see this, but I think Janine and I were on together not too long ago for like 2.5 hours, which, we don't have, either one of us have that kind of time normally. And so now it's bringing joy. It's like, okay, again, we're acclimating, we're adapting to our new environment, I guess. So that definitely did. I think getting to a point of, I spent a lot of time not paying attention, which I know I'm supposed to practice what I preach, but I spent a lot of time not paying attention to my own practices and my own health. And I have now reversed that. And again, I'm not criticizing myself, but I was so busy with the work stuff that I just sort of let everything else go. And so it has been bringing me joy again now to, like I actually, I'm, between taking the walks every day, I'm getting back into meditating every day. I'm actually reading the 3,000 articles that I've saved on health and meditation and, all things that we do that I haven't been taking the time to read. And so I'm enjoying it. It actually does bring me joy to go, oh, I knew that already. Or, oh, this is new. I can use this. And so that all of that kind of makes me feel like I'm getting back to my pre-pandemic self. in a
Mhm.
weird way. And that brings me joy because I was very happy before all this happened. So I think that's a good sign that I'm starting to feel that, oh yeah, this is great. I will say too, the dumb thing now, after all that struggling with how to do all this stuff, the getting back into cooking and baking and using all my new gizmos is bringing me a lot of joy. So, and part of that joy is better than it ever was years ago when I did this because I'm home. So I can go start whatever gourmet thing I want to cook or start a loaf of bread and then work and then go back and forth. And I find that it truly brings me joy that I'm doing something. I think of cooking or baking as creative. So I'm doing something creative and then I come in here and do a different kind of thing that's creative. And then, so the flip-flopping between my creativity centers is bringing me joy too.
What about you, Jesse?
Um, I liked, I don't know, it's like similar to you and your kids. I liked kind of being trapped in here with my boyfriend. I feel like we've both been working aside from the last month he wasn't working. But yeah, I feel like we got closer. And
What a great test for a relationship.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're glad it went well.
We've been engaged for a while. But yeah, I think before this I was like, oh yeah, like, we're close. Like we live together and we're engaged. And then all this happened and I'm like, oh, our relationship is different than it was before.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure for some people it's worked the other way. So I really am glad it went the way that you wanted it to go.
Yeah, feeling grateful for that.
Actually, I think people, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do believe that some people who had rocky relationships might have improved their relationships through this.
Mhm.
Like some, it may have gone the other way, but I think if you're trapped at home with a person, it really does sort of wake you up to the fact that you either need to figure this out because you can't escape now, or then you need to permanently escape the state of heart. But I have heard stories from people saying, no, actually, and I've even seen a couple of stories publicly about people that were in the process of divorce and they changed their mind after, they couldn't finish the process because the court shut down and everything happened. And they changed their minds after being really forced to live together for a while. So it changed the relationship. So that's great. Well, I think we ought to close with what we hope. What do you hope for the most in 2021?
Less politics. No.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly, I hope for a little more just peace.
Yeah.
I just feel like there is not a lot of peace right now anywhere in the world. And I feel like just a little more peace, not trying to sound like, I'm going to go change the world, but I think that the upside of what has happened has taught people a little bit more about the value of themselves and maybe the value of their immediate surroundings and their immediate family, that can rely on that a little bit more. And maybe that will help people be a little more peaceful next year.
Beautiful. How about you, Jess?
I don't know. I don't know what I want for the world. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be for the world.
It can be for the world.
Sorry. It can be for yourself.
Okay, this is what I want. Less excitement for the world and more excitement for myself. And not like I think it goes along with the thing I said about like living very passively. And I think for me, for next year, I want to consciously engage more with just like life, just like be more alive than I have been over the past like 3, 4, 5 years.
Great. I like it. How about you, Vanessa?
I found that I need to live more in the present moment because I feel like I've taken things for granted, and I just want to be able to live more fully and enjoy fully life. I wait for the day that I can hug my family members, my grandparents. That's what I look forward to.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I I actually have one of those bigger hopes, which is I sincerely hope that as things calm down and hopefulness returns because the vaccine's here, even though it's going to be a long time till we can all get it, but I'm hoping that hope starts to help people settle down. So I really think I think that with whatever's happened, doesn't matter what caused it. I'm going to say it that way, but whatever's happened in the last year or two that has caused such vitriolic responses to everything, like everything is so overblown or so black and white or so widely divided. My hope is really not to change anybody's mind about anything, but just to get people to kind of try to come more toward the center, to be more cooperative with each other, with themselves, whatever the case may be. And I really hope for that, because it does disturb me. And that then interferes with my own joy, right? It disturbs me because I don't know what the answer is. So I'm hoping that the hopefulness of, the end in sight, again, I'm not saying quickly, but that there's an end in sight to living like this maybe, or to worrying about getting a virus, or, whatever it is, that as that kind of escalates, that maybe some of the hostility and judgmental behaviors of people starts to calm down. So not that they have to agree, not that they have to change anything, but just it doesn't have to be that over the top. And I think if that happens, then it makes it easier for all of us to feel like we live in a safer world, or that we live in a world where there is more hope to solve problems together, instead of kind of getting so distracted with our divisiveness that we've extended the problem. So that's my big hope. And then I have personal hopes. Really, it's just, I kind of hope we don't have to go back to, again, living in a chaotic way. So my hope for myself is that I maintain this sort of mindset of, I like not racing all day. And then I hope I can stick with that, despite what happens in the outside world. So
I also hope I get to see my parents.
that would be nice, Melissa.
I would like to see you. I would like the grandkids to see you. But
well, see, I don't have that as a hope, because I'm assuming that's going to happen in 2021 at some point by Christmas. Okay.
The earlier point.
Yeah. Yes. So I will hope it happens earlier. Yeah, that's a good point.
I hope that the four of us can get together in person sooner than later and celebrate our success of 2020.
I feel like we've all gotten to know each other so much more.
Yeah.
I
really like
just from having Zoom meetings, from Teresa being like, all right, we have to meet 3 times a week so we don't go crazy.
Well, I think I had just met Vanessa once in person.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah. I think we only met twice in person too. Yeah.
Now I feel like you guys are like old pals.
Yeah, we're a crew now.
I love it. Can you picture, and I do have empathy for all the people that have started new jobs since this began. So they've never met their coworkers. They've never met their bosses. You know what I mean? That's a weird way to start a job. But I like that you said that, just because it's really interesting. Maybe they'll actually be more connected to their coworkers than they ever would have been if they were in an office, because then we just pass each other and say little, hi, bye. And this way we're actually having conversations. So who knows? Who knows all of the good that could come out of this once all of the horrible stuff is over with. So that'll be the hope too, that we recognize all the good that comes out of it.
Here's 2021 not sucking.
Now, don't set the bar that high. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it can be a good year. I think now we've got the hang of this, and my heart goes out to all the people that are out of work, or that are sick, or that are trying to get well, or, there's still a lot of angst and upset for good reason. But I'm hoping, again, that we're hitting the hump, so that as we go forward, people will heal, or people will find jobs, or the crazy government will get its act together, or whatever, but it's going to start getting better. And I think just it's starting, even if it takes a long time, will be enough to kind of boost us to hang on. We got to hang on forever, however long it takes, but we can kind of see the end in sight. And I think that is, our brains like that, I know. So I think that helps us a lot. And then we'll find more joy now and make these little adjustments we talked about, and definitely plan to get together once it's safe to do so. All right. Well, thank you very much. I always enjoy talking with you.
Thank you. Very grateful for you guys.
You too, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy 2021. We'll never look at 2020 again, but here's to a great new year. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.